And I'd like to follow up on where my distinguished colleague, Mr. Molnar, was. Can you make a distinction between how many, in the 2024 election, how many non-citizens versus citizens of the district voted?
I think we do know the number of non-citizens who registered. 523 out of, I don't know, how many hundreds of that, 200,000 voters.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
What distinction do you make between those things that are in DC and a federal election?
Well, the Board of Elections has the ability on the spot in our voting centers to be able to give you the ballot that you're eligible for. For example, if I voted outside of my home precinct, which I did, and I'm only going to get the ballot. Therefore, my ward representative is on my ballot. My advisory neighborhood commissioner is on my ballot, not someone else's. Similarly, the board can produce a ballot that you're eligible for, so the federal offices would not appear on your ballot if you're not eligible.
So do you believe that non-citizens should have the ability to vote in your elections?
The council has passed the bill. I would have suggested that residents, we have a lot of long-term residents here who have the ability to work. They have work permits. And that's one level of identification that I think is well proven. And we have a lot of our residents who came to the district with temporary protective status. Now, I know there will be a big discussion over immigration reforms, and we look forward to participating in that because we think that people who live here, who pay taxes here, who raise their families here, who have mortgages here, who have jobs here, and have been here and have come here with temporary protective status and other means should have a pathway to citizenship. Those residents participating in a local election, I think, makes our process better.
Chair Mendelson, do you share the same beliefs? I don't want to pit you against each other, but.
Well, and you won't. And I also am the chair of the council, which adopted the legislation. Where we come from, our perspective is that these individuals who may not be United States citizens still are residents of the district. And they participate, as the mayor said. We want them to participate, if for no other reason than public safety purposes. If there is some illegal activity or domestic violence, we want them to feel that they can report that. We need them to report that. And so we try not to discriminate against them. And if they are participating in our city, then because we provide city services, we feel that they should have a voice in the election of the city. But we make that distinction. I said it the way I did because we're not saying they should participate in federal elections.
So does council participate in the integrity of elections, or as far as making sure that?
Sort of in the same way that you do. We have oversight. And we have hearings, and so we hear whether there are complaints or problems. So we have heard complaints and problems about the speed of elections, vote counting, and complaints about lines at some of the precincts, but we've not heard complaints about illegal voting.
Okay. And just to clarify, Mayor, when I was talking about the crap that kids get, I was talking about like Delta 8, and those things that the hemp type products that are not being, they put it out there as being THC, but it's actually coming from China or somewhere else, and these are chemicals. It's not any type of grown thing that is something that we all should be making sure. I know in my state of Ohio, it's now an active thing going on in the House and the Senate to try to rid those places from those, because those people are not making any distinction whether or not they're selling to kids. They're just selling.
Yes.
And it's crap.
It's crap. And I totally agree with you on that. We've been fighting all types of synthetic substances that have been sold. And some, is not only crap, some of it is deadly.
Right.
And so we know we don't want our kids or adults buying off market where we can't assure the authenticity of the product.
So if we could regulate, we'd have seed to sale, but we can't regulate. Where there have been enforcement efforts against these illegal gifting shops, there's sometimes been testing by the government, and we have found almost always that there are other substances mixed in with the cannabis. And we've also, as I mentioned before, found other drugs that are being sold in those establishments.
Thank you, and I applaud your efforts on that. I